Yo, here's my HUD control setup for Controls Interface 2. For those that don't know what Controls Interface 2 is, go to Settings, tap Controls, and see these two boxes over here? These offer a different set of buttons for you to use in the game. This guide will teach you the best setup for Controls Interface 2. So, select Controls Interface 2, click this custom layout button, and let's get cracking. Now, let me explain why all my buttons are placed where they are. First of all, the buttons are all grouped up based on their purpose. Top left corner is the boom boom pow corner. Top right corner is the movement corner. The bottom right is the utility corner, and the middle section is the information center. Basically, I grouped them up like this so that whenever my eyes look at that section, all the buttons and windows fall in the same category, making it easier to make quick decisions. For example, the top left corner's only purpose is to kill. So whenever I need to do some damage, everything that I need is in one place. While we're on the killing topic, let's cover the boom boom pow corner first. In this corner, there are only 3 buttons that I use with my left index finger only. This is the right fire button. Whenever I press and hold this button, I will automatically shoot and aim down sight at the same time. This is the shooting button that I use the most. Then we have the melee button over here. This allows me to very quickly perform a melee attack after I've emptied my magazine, and all that's left to do is whack my enemy dead. Lastly, this is the left firing button, which I only ever use for hip fire. These 3 buttons will never be needed to be pressed at the same time, so my left index finger is able to handle all 3 on its own. This little section over here is the graveyard section. Basically, buttons that I never use. I just deactivate them by tapping on the button itself and checking this button over here, and just dump the buttons here out of the way of everything else. Last on this section, I put the kill feed over here so that it doesn't ever block my vision in the middle of a fight. Well then, movement corner. Everything in this corner is to help me move around or control the crowd. Abilities are mainly either for moving around or controlling the crowd. It just depends on the legend that you play. Personally, I play Fade. Basics first though. Using only my right index finger, I use all these 5 buttons because I never have a need to press any 2 buttons at the same time. And this weapons box window is shared between my right index finger and my right thumb. I put the slide and jump buttons literally stuck together, as these are buttons that I will never press at the same time regardless. So my right index finger can very easily switch between the 2. Then we have the reload button over here so that I can quickly press it mid-fight after we do a slide jump combo to dodge the enemy bullets and reload my weapon. Or even better, the weapons box right underneath the reload button. Most of the time, it's faster to switch weapons and start shooting again than waiting for your reload to finish. Then we have the ultimate button over here. Firstly though, let's go back into the settings menu, go into basic, click more options, and down at the bottom, you'll see that I have my ultimate use button set to quick. This basically allows me to press and hold the ultimate button, move my finger around to aim with it, and as soon as I lift my finger, Fade will immediately throw his ultimate ability. This also means that I can do a quick tap on the ultimate button and Fade will immediately throw his ult, allowing me to quickly catch an enemy with it and slow them down. Or very quickly transfer myself into the void by throwing my ult near me and run away safely. And last, for my right index finger is the tactical ability button. What I tend to do first is position myself safely using these buttons, then when I'm safe, I'll tap this tactical button to flash back away, meaning my index finger can do all of that on its own. From here, I use my right thumb to use all these buttons in what I call the utility section. We have the ADS button over here, which I very rarely use to be honest, but when I do need it, I use my right thumb to aim down sights. Ping button over here. I never really use it mid-fight or mid-extreme movement, so I place it here for my thumb to use when it's safe and don't need to be turning at the same time. Free camera focus over here. I use my right thumb to turn, so I feel it's natural to also use my right thumb for this button to look around with. Then we have the emote button over here. I wouldn't emote unless it's fully safe to do so, meaning I can literally stand still and use my right thumb to carry out an emote without having to worry about anything else at all. I put the zoom button over here. Very rarely use it. Place it wherever the hell you want really, I don't care, it's your life. This is the tactical selection mode button. This changes the way some tactical abilities are used. This actually used to be shared with this button when we only had Controls Interface 1 available to use, so it makes sense for me to put them right next to each other. Now this button is the interact button. This is how you interact with various features in the game such as doors, zip lines, and control panels. And these two are the utility buttons. This one's for survival items and this one's for throwables. throwables. I find that I need to use throwables quicker than I do heals, so I place a throwable button closer to my thumb for quick access. Up here is the looting window. As soon as this pops up, my right thumb can quickly access it and pick up loot while still not fully blocking my movement space. And last on this section, these are the comms buttons. I seriously very rarely use them, so I just tuck them there away from everything, but are still accessible if I decide to use them. Next section is the information center. This section holds all the vital information that I need to know at all times throughout a match. Everything is in one place, so my eyes never need to travel far to gather information such as health status, how many enemies there are left, map info, and other things info related. And this is where I put my settings button because it also provides info. If you don't put yours here, you're a noob. Ooh, sorry about that. Last on this section, I call this the timer window. This is the window that pops up whenever you're carrying out a task that has a countdown timer involved. So basically when you're reviving someone using a survey beacon or a respawn beacon. I put it close enough to my right thumb so I can cancel it quickly if I need to. Then we have the left D-pad over here. I made it super small so my movements are more precise. When it's bigger, I feel like my movement is very stiff and rough. Haven't really fully tested the accuracy of it, but it feels better this way, so yeah. And it also uses less screen space, so it's better for my video. I place a sprint threshold closer to the D-pad so I can actually sprint sooner. Super helpful for aggressive players like me. And if I wanted to sneak, I'll just crouch walk. Then I drag the auto sprint threshold all the way up here because it affects my movement when I'm doing things like bunny hopping, and I need my D-pad to be angled and not locked. But you know, sometimes I do be lazy and still use auto sprint, so yeah, having that option is nice. This little thing here is the quick attachments button. Currently, this doesn't even show up on your screen if you've chosen to use Controls Interface 2. I covered this in my Controls Interface 1 video, so if you want to know what this is, click the card at the end of this video. Over here is my backpack button. I only ever use this when it's safe to open my backpack, so I placed it away from everything so I don't accidentally open it mid-fight. Last two things. Here's 5 seconds of peace to drop a like. Go on. Hit subscribe. Go on. And while you're at it, hit the bell button. Lastly, watch this video for my Controls Interface 1 guide and decide for yourself which one you want to use. Peace. Oh! Maple syrup won it! GG's!